I must recall. Les machinations, le massacre, les performances fallacieuses. Does creation break me free of the shadows about me? Or does it bring me closer to them? Perhaps my thirst, reignited by death, will one day finally catch fire and rage. Doctor, witness it. Grasp it. Endorse or reject it. Do not stop it.
目を閉じて、闇夜が君の意識を覆い、鋭い不快感はすぐ消えるだろう。教えてくれ。どんな光景を見たいのか。進む船に、花の咲き乱れる地。それから私たち。それだけなのか。
Tragodia, also known as Operator Phantom. Victorian feline assassin previously employed by Rhodes Island. Based on what he said, he had fulfilled his goal for joining Rhodes by the time he returned from his work as an actor in Rankwood, Columbia. But is still willing to continue cooperation with us, providing all manner of support for the nearby Rhodes branch office on his travels throughout Terra. Alright, Phantom Altar, or Tragodia as what he is officially called, is our newest 6-star ritualist supporter, specializes in elemental and crowd control. And the element injury he works with is the newly added nervous impairment. As most already know, ritualist supporter are the best element injury enabler. And Tragodia is the best one in the nervous impairment category. You have probably heard praises about him. Notably him being a very reliable crowd control unit. And one of the things that makes him a sea-seeking is thanks to the paralysis effect from nervous impairment burst. So, to refresh your memory a bit. Once the element circle on the enemy is depleted, nervous impairment will deal 6000 element damage in an instant. Compared to other elemental injury, nervous have the lowest damage output. But I'd say damage can take their time. What makes it truly useful, however, is that nervous impairment also gives a paralysis effect to the enemy. Arguably one of the strongest debuff in the game. Because it will prevent the enemy from doing their normal attacks, possibly saving your operators from vicious hits. Of course, paralysis normally will only prevent 3 normal attacks. But with Tragodia, he can easily inflict nervous bursts on enemies and apply the paralysis again. By the way, an elemental enabler like him has awesome synergy with those who benefit from elemental burst. Right now for him, that means OG Thorns with his Delta module, Grace, and Miss Christine. But his best partner should be the upcoming Operator Mantra. Moving on, this is his general stats. Not much worth noting here. He is vulnerable like most ranged units. DP cost is almost entering the medium category. And while he has low attack, thankfully all of his abilities calculated the nervous impairment based on his attack stat. So the build up won't be disturbed by resistance or defense. And thankfully effect resistance is still very rare. Next up, this is his talent. Talent 1 is his main source to deal nervous impairment. At least 30% of his attack stat will be converted into nervous damage to his main target, and slightly lower at 20% to those nearby. Keep in mind he will only deal arts damage to the main target, but given time he can also damage enemies around it via nervous burst, which technically gives his normal attack a way to handle crowds. Also, since it's based on his attack, the bigger his attack, the faster he can deplete the enemy element circle. Here I have Tragodia at Elite to level 70 and Module 3. Dealing with Elites should take him 6 normal attacks to inflict nervous burst. And here I got Tragodia, who is maxed out by some Chinese mad lad. Now instead of 6 normal attacks, he only needs to do 5. No doubt this extra upgrade really helps to make gameplay much smoother. But you don't have to fully max him though. The sweet spot for him should be at level 82, with max module, where he now only needs 5 normal attacks to deplete Elite Element Circle. Understandably, it is a rather expensive upgrade cost. Luckily this is a teamwork game. So alternatively, you can also buff his attack to reduce Element Circle faster. And don't get me started on the buff from game modes like integrated strategies. Next up, his talent 2. Any enemies under Nervous Burst will have their attack speed reduced. And this mostly aims to slow down enemies breaking free from their paralysis. Then the second effect will make enemies inside his range to take nervous damage anytime they do normal attacks. Pretty helpful to reduce the element circle quicker, especially to fast attacking enemies. And interestingly, this works to enemies with invisibility. Moving on, this is his potential upgrade list. You got stuff that will reduce his cost, increase attack, and improve both of his talents. As for module, Tragodia got the X module, which will increase his nervous damage to elite and bosses, and also increasing his HP and attack. For the upgrade, it will enhance his second talent. Nothing new, it will just increase the attack speed debuff and the amount of nerve damage that enemies take when dealing normal attacks. Overall it's a strong module to unlock and upgrade, especially if you aim to make him deplete element circle with less attacks. Now let's talk skills. As we expected, his skill is centered on crowd control. Like in skill 1, he will deal critical damage and bind to his main target for 3 seconds. And that enemy will receive more nervous impairment while bound. This is considered his weakest skill. Not because it is bad, but his other skills are just better. Although you might still find usefulness in its bind and consistent application. Notably when only fighting one enemy. Although considering his attack speed, this skill cost and its bind duration, Tragodia normally can't permanently bind an enemy. But at only 2 skill points cost at M3, it does have the potential for a consistent application of bind and nervous impairment, especially when you get him an SP battery or attack speed buff. Release me! Next up, his skill 2. This is considered his best skill, and probably the most powerful stalling skill in the game. It's an infinite duration skill that will give Tragodia attack speed buff, and expand his talent 1 splash area. However, that's not what makes it special, but the powerful summon he can call once the skill is ready. This black cat can be deployed on any ground tile, and will then lure non-immune enemies to its position. Doesn't matter their weight, flying or the target is being blocked. The affected enemy will try to reach the cat. Unfortunately the enemy won't willingly walk towards a hole. But still, this lure mechanic is absolutely overpowered. You can mess up enemy pathing, significantly stall enemies' movement, or even send enemies straight to their death. And not just luring. The cat will also inflict these effects to all enemies in its range, once an enemy reaches its position, or its timer runs out. And the effects are slow, powerful arts damage, and nervous impairment that will almost certainly deplete boss's element circle. On top of that, this skill only has 25 SP to start. And the cat summon has a rather short cooldown. Also, what's neat about the cat redeploy cooldown is that the second you deploy the cat, its cooldown timer will start instantly. So no time waste for its next redeployment. By the way, you can manually retreat the cat. And neatly enough, it won't just retreat, but also trigger its other effects. Last but not least, his skill 3. The first effect will make it easier for him to inflict nervous burst on enemies. By increasing his attack, and now enemies who already got hit from his nervous impairment, will keep receiving nervous damage until burst. Enemies who are under nervous burst effect in his range, will also recover quicker. Which might sound bad, but it's actually more of a good thing. Because he can inflict nervous burst and paralysis again and again, in a short period of time. Moreover, enemies who are entering nervous burst, will get locked by something called Cage of Chaos. Which acts as a blocker, that the enemy need to destroy, before moving or hitting your operators again. But by the time they destroy it, Tragodia should be able to renew the cage. Overall, this is an amazing crowd control and element damage source. This skill provides multiple layer of debuff, to prevent enemy from moving, or attacking your operators. Giving other operators valuable time to deal damage, recuperate, or finish charging their skills. Beside that, Tragodia himself can deal plenty of element damage, via nervous impairment. For skill mastery priority, I definitely recommend skill 2 first. This is the best skill used for most content, and has a very unique and useful lure ability. On top of that, the mastery gain is also nice. Your second option is his skill 3. If you ever want to deal more damage with him, and unleash ultimate crowd control in the next 30 seconds. And I'd say skill 1 can be skipped. Although if you do find value in it, skill 1 mastery 3 has a very impactful gain. Because it will reduce the skill cost from 3 to only 2 SP, which is a big deal for an offensive recovery. Not to mention, at M3 it can be instantly used once deployed, thanks to the initial SP matching the skill cost. Then his base skill. In the factory he can boost XP card production with a massive 35% increase, while also reducing moral consumption. So ladies and gentlemen, that is why you should get and build Tragodia. An absolutely amazing crowd control unit, who can provide multiple ways to stall enemies, or prevent them from hitting your operators, while also providing meaningful arts, and element damage. And considering his best abilities are unlocked at Elite 1, I'd say he is very good to be used as an IS mode starter, or other similar game modes. He is also newbie friendly, and can be very helpful in early gameplay, without needing Elite 2 promotion to start being good. And veteran players will definitely find usefulness in him. From what I've seen he doesn't really have any drawbacks. And no, being French is not a bad thing, at least not usually. However, if you watch this during his debut, the biggest reason to skip him is that we will get back-to-back limited banners, starting around January, which not only consist of hard to get operators, but also useful in gameplay. But really, in the upcoming banners, there's no one else who can replace Tragodia. So your best bet to get him will be in his debut banner, his rerun banner next year, or maybe you can get lucky in some random banner that might feature him. That should be all. Adios.